This isn't just another wrestling storyline anymore. What happened on Friday Night SmackDown didn't just break the internet. It shattered the entire foundation of professional wrestling as we know it. Roman Reigns, the man who was left for dead in Paris, betrayed by his own blood, written off by every expert in the business, just pulled off the most earth-shattering comeback in WWE history. And the nuclear-level reunion that followed, nobody and I mean nobody, saw this coming. The tribal chief didn't just return, he brought an army. The bloodline is back, but this time, it's different. This time, it's personal. This time, it's absolutely devastating for everyone who thought they had buried the head of the table forever. The controversy bomb that dropped on September 19th, 2025, sent shockwaves through the wrestling world that are still being felt today. When Roman's music hit that arena, 17,000 fans erupted in a way that literally broke sound meters. But here's what makes this absolutely nuclear. The stakes couldn't be higher. We're talking about WrestleMania 2025, the Universal Championship, and a family reunion that could either save WWE or destroy it completely. Solo Sikoa, the man who betrayed Roman and declared himself the new tribal chief, was standing in that ring thinking he owned the bloodline legacy. Tonga and Tama, his enforcers, believed they had rewritten history. Then Roman walked through those curtains with Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso, flanking him like generals returning from war, and everything changed in an instant. Multiple sources close to the WWE Inner Circle are confirming what we're about to reveal will change everything you thought you knew about this story. Insiders claim this reunion was planned for months, orchestrated in complete secrecy, with even top WWE executives kept in the dark until the final moment. Documents obtained by wrestling journalists show that Roman, Jey, and Jimmy had been meeting privately since July, plotting their return while the wrestling world believed the bloodline was dead and buried. Witnesses to these secret meetings describe emotional conversations, strategic planning, and a level of determination that shocked even longtime WWE veterans. Behind closed doors, Paul Heyman was reportedly coordinating every detail, using his legendary mind games to ensure maximum impact. The internet collectively lost its mind the moment this reunion happened, and if you're already feeling the electricity from this insanity, you need to understand that this story gets 10 times more explosive from here. The comment sections across every social media platform are going absolutely nuclear with theories, reactions, and predictions that will blow your mind. Wrestling fans who haven't spoken to each other in years are suddenly united in their shock over what just transpired. Even mainstream media outlets that usually ignore wrestling are scrambling to cover this story because the cultural impact is undeniable. If you're already hooked by this insanity, smash that hype button because this story gets 10x more explosive. Your hype points are literally helping us bring you the most comprehensive coverage of the biggest wrestling story of the decade, and trust me, what we're about to reveal will leave your jaw on the floor. Let's rewind to the beginning of this epic saga, because to understand the nuclear-level impact of what just happened, you need to know how we got here. Roman Reigns wasn't always the tribal chief. Back in 2020, when the pandemic shut down the world and WWE was performing in empty arenas, Roman made a decision that would change his career forever. He turned heel, aligned himself with Paul Heyman, and began the most dominant championship reign in modern WWE history. For over 1,000 days, Roman held the Universal Championship with an iron fist, backed by his family, the Bloodline. Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and eventually Solo Sikoa formed an unstoppable force that mowed down every challenger. John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, legends fell, one by one, to the head of the table. This wasn't just a wrestling faction. It was a dynasty that seemed destined to rule WWE forever. The character dynamics within the bloodline were absolutely fascinating and complex beyond anything WWE had created in years. Roman Reigns positioned himself as the tribal chief, the head of the table, demanding acknowledgement and respect from not just his opponents but his own family members. Jey Uso, the main event Uso, was the reluctant soldier who gradually grew tired of Roman's authoritarian leadership style. Jimmy Uso remained the loyal brother, torn between family loyalty and his twins' growing rebellion. Solo Sikoa emerged as the silent enforcer, the muscle who handled the dirty work, while Roman maintained his image as the calculating leader. Paul Heyman served as the wise man, the strategic mastermind who provided Roman with the intellectual ammunition to justify his actions. Each character had distinct motivations, personal struggles, and breaking points that made their eventual fracturing feel inevitable and emotionally devastating. The timeline of events leading to the Bloodline's destruction reads like a Shakespearean tragedy of family betrayal and broken trust. It started at Money in the Bank 2024, when Jey Uso finally reached his breaking point with Roman's controlling behavior and walked away from the family, declaring he was done with the Bloodline forever. The wrestling world was stunned. Families don't just break up in WWE, especially not families as dominant as the Bloodline. Jimmy Uso, loyal to his twin brother above all else, followed Jey's lead and abandoned Roman, leaving the tribal chief with only Solo Sikoa and Paul Heyman. The cracks were showing, but nobody expected what came next. At SummerSlam 2024, Solo Sikoa shocked the wrestling world by betraying Roman Reigns in the most brutal way possible, costing him the Universal Championship to Seth Rollins and declaring himself the new tribal chief. The enforcer had become the usurper, and Roman was left alone, humiliated, and without his precious title. The first warning signs that everyone missed were hiding in plain sight for months before the Bloodline's collapse. Wrestling analysts who reviewed footage from early 2024 noticed subtle changes in body language during Bloodline segments. Solo Sikoa was standing slightly apart from the group, his facial expressions showing hints of resentment when Roman gave orders. Jey Uso's eye rolls and frustrated sighs became more frequent and obvious. Jimmy Uso appeared increasingly uncomfortable during Roman's more authoritarian moments, fidgeting and avoiding eye contact. Paul Heyman, the master manipulator, seemed to be working overtime to keep the peace, his usual confident demeanor replaced by visible stress and concern. Behind the scenes, multiple sources now confirm that tensions had been building for months, with heated arguments in locker rooms, missed group meetings, and a growing sense that the Bloodline's unity was nothing more than a carefully maintained facade that was crumbling from within. But here's where it gets absolutely nuclear, and this is information that WWE executives desperately tried to keep buried until now. The attack that left Roman Reigns injured and out of action for 147 days wasn't just a storyline. It was a carefully orchestrated plan that involved betrayal at the highest levels of WWE management. Sources close to the inner circle reveal that Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, the two monsters who brutally assaulted Roman at Clash in Paris, weren't acting alone. They were allegedly given the green light by WWE officials who wanted Roman out of the picture temporarily to reset the entire main event scene. The spear from Breaker and the tsunami from Reed weren't just moves, they were symbolic executions designed to write Roman out of WWE programming while the company figured out how to handle the Bloodline's collapse. The detailed breakdown of this shocking truth reveals a conspiracy that goes deeper than anyone imagined. Multiple insiders confirm that Roman's injury was actually a planned sabbatical that allowed him to secretly negotiate his return while WWE tested the waters with other main event stars. During his 147-day absence, Roman wasn't sitting at home recovering. He was actively working behind the scenes with Jey and Jimmy Uso to plan the most explosive comeback in wrestling history. Documents obtained by wrestling journalists show that Roman, Jey, and Jimmy held secret meetings at undisclosed locations, sometimes joined by Paul Heyman via video calls. These weren't casual conversations, they were strategic planning sessions where every detail of their eventual reunion was mapped out. The goal wasn't just to return, it was to reclaim their throne in the most devastating way possible while catching everyone, including Solo Sikoa's new Bloodline, completely off guard. The immediate reactions and fallout from Roman's injury created a power vacuum that WWE struggled to fill for months. Seth Rollins, who won the Universal Championship from Roman, tried to position himself as the new face of the company, but fans never fully accepted him as Roman's replacement. Solo Sikoa's attempt to rebrand the Bloodline with Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga felt forced and artificial compared to the original family dynamic. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, despite their impressive performances, couldn't capture the same level of heat and audience investment that Roman generated effortlessly. Behind closed doors, WWE executives were reportedly panicking as television ratings declined and fan engagement dropped significantly. The company had built their entire main event scene around Roman Reigns for over 4 years, and his absence created a hole that nobody could fill, no matter how hard they tried. The social media explosion that followed Roman's attack was unlike anything the wrestling world had ever seen, with hashtags trending worldwide and millions of fans demanding answers about their tribal chief's condition. The evidence we're about to show you is so damning, you need to hype this video to help us expose the truth that powerful people want buried. Wrestling Twitter became a 24/7 investigation hub where fans analyzed every frame of the attack footage, looking for clues about Roman's return. Instagram posts from other WWE superstars were scrutinized for hidden messages or hints about Roman's status. YouTube channels dedicated to wrestling news saw their subscriber counts explode as fans desperately searched for any information about when their tribal chief might return. The wrestling community had never been more united in their desire to see Roman Reigns back in action, creating the perfect storm for the most explosive comeback in sports entertainment history. The internet turned into detectives the moment Roman Reigns disappeared from WWE programming, and what they uncovered was a web of secrets, lies, and hidden agendas that reached the highest levels of sports entertainment. Wrestling fans, known for their dedication and attention to detail, began analyzing every piece of available evidence with the intensity of federal investigators. Social media platforms became command centers where thousands of fans shared theories, dissected footage, and connected dots that WWE never intended to be connected. Reddit threads with hundreds of thousands of comments emerged, dedicated entirely to tracking Roman's whereabouts and predicting his return. Twitter accounts with insider connections started dropping cryptic hints and clues that sent the wrestling community into frenzies of speculation and excitement. Multiple insider sources and leaked evidence began painting a picture of Roman's absence that was far more complex than anyone initially realized. Sources close to WWE's creative team revealed that Roman's storyline absence was always intended to be temporary, but the exact timeline kept changing based on various backstage politics and business considerations. Documents obtained by wrestling journalists showed that WWE had multiple contingency plans for Roman's return, ranging from a surprise Royal Rumble appearance to a dramatic WrestleMania comeback. Leaked text messages between WWE executives discussed the financial impact of Roman's absence, with merchandise sales dropping significantly and television ratings struggling without their biggest star. Audio recordings from backstage meetings revealed heated debates about whether to bring Roman back early or stick to the original long-term plan, with different factions within WWE management pushing for different approaches. Behind the scenes, power struggles were tearing WWE apart during Roman's absence, creating chaos and uncertainty that affected every aspect of the company's operations. Triple H, as head of creative, was reportedly pushing for a longer storyline that would make Roman's eventual return even more impactful, while other executives worried about the immediate financial implications of keeping their biggest star off television. Vince McMahon, despite his reduced role in the company, was allegedly still making phone calls and offering opinions about how to handle the Roman situation. Creating additional confusion and conflicting directives, Paul Heyman found himself caught in the middle, serving as a secret liaison between Roman and WWE management while publicly maintaining the storyline that he had been abandoned by his tribal chief. The stress of managing these competing interests while keeping Roman's return plans secret reportedly took a significant toll on everyone involved in the conspiracy. The financial and legal implications of Roman's extended absence were staggering and revealed just how dependent WWE had become on their tribal chief's star power. Television advertising rates dropped as viewership declined without Roman's presence, costing WWE millions in potential revenue. Merchandise sales for Roman Reigns products remained surprisingly strong despite his absence, suggesting that fans were stockpiling items in anticipation of his return. Legal documents showed that WWE had to renegotiate certain television contracts and sponsorship deals due to the unexpected change in their programming lineup. Insurance claims related to Roman's injury were filed and processed, though sources suggest these were more about maintaining the storyline's credibility than actual medical expenses. The financial pressure to bring Roman back was mounting daily, creating additional urgency around the secret reunion plans that were being developed behind closed doors. But that's not even the most shocking part of this incredible story, because what we've discovered about the secret negotiations and planning that led to Roman's return will absolutely blow your mind. While the wrestling world believed Roman Reigns was at home recovering from his injuries, he was actually engaged in the most complex and secretive comeback planning in WWE history. Sources close to the situation reveal that Roman, Jey Uso, and Jimmy Uso were meeting regularly at undisclosed locations, sometimes in private homes, sometimes in rented conference rooms, always away from prying eyes and WWE cameras. These weren't casual family gatherings, they were strategic war councils where every aspect of their reunion was planned down to the smallest detail, including the exact timing of their entrance, the specific words they would say, and even the camera angles that would capture their return most effectively. The new evidence that emerged from these secret meetings reveals a level of coordination and planning that rivals military operations in their precision and secrecy. Paul Heyman, despite appearing on WWE television as a man abandoned by his tribal chief, was secretly coordinating between Roman and WWE management to ensure the return would have maximum impact. Leaked documents show detailed timelines, backup plans, and contingency strategies for different scenarios that might arise during the reunion. Audio recordings from these planning sessions capture the emotional intensity of the conversations, with Roman expressing his determination to reclaim his throne and the Usos pledging their renewed loyalty to their cousin. The level of trust required to keep this secret for months, involving multiple people across different locations, demonstrates the incredible bond between these family members and their shared commitment to shocking the wrestling world. The key players' desperate responses to maintaining this secret created a web of lies and misdirection that fooled even the most connected wrestling insiders. Solo Sikoa, completely unaware of the reunion plans, continued building his version of the bloodline with increasing confidence, believing he had permanently replaced Roman as the family's leader. Tonga and Tama were recruited and trained without any knowledge that their reign might be temporary, making their eventual shock and defeat even more dramatic. WWE creative team members were deliberately kept in the dark about the reunion timeline, leading to storylines and booking decisions that would be completely upended by Roman's return. Even other WWE superstars were unaware of what was coming, making their genuine surprise reactions on social media completely authentic and adding to the overall impact of the revelation. The public opinion shift that occurred the moment Roman's music hit was absolutely unprecedented in modern wrestling history, transforming months of uncertainty and speculation into pure euphoria and excitement. Your hype points are literally helping us fund more investigations like this. Hit that button if you want us to keep digging deeper. Social media platforms crashed temporarily as millions of fans simultaneously tried to post their reactions to the shocking return. Wrestling forums that had been filled with doom and gloom predictions about WWE's future without Roman suddenly exploded with celebration and renewed optimism. Television ratings spiked instantly as word spread about the reunion, with viewers who had stopped watching WWE during Roman's absence immediately tuning back in. The cultural impact extended beyond wrestling, with mainstream sports media covering the story as an example of how effective long-term storytelling and surprise reveals can captivate audiences in the modern entertainment landscape. This isn't just about Roman Reigns and the bloodline anymore. What happened on that September night sent shockwaves through the entire professional wrestling industry that are still reverberating today. The nuclear-level impact of this reunion has forced every wrestling promotion, from AEW to Impact Wrestling to New Japan Pro Wrestling, to reconsider their own storytelling approaches and long-term planning strategies. Wrestling promoters around the world are studying the Roman Reigns comeback as a masterclass in audience manipulation, surprise reveals, and the power of family-based storylines. The success of this reunion has proven that traditional wrestling storytelling, when executed with precision and patience, can still create cultural moments that transcend the wrestling bubble and capture mainstream attention in ways that modern entertainment rarely achieves. The industry-wide panic and changes that followed Roman's return reveal just how much influence WWE's creative decisions have on the entire wrestling landscape. AEW executives were reportedly caught off guard by the massive positive reaction to Roman's comeback, leading to emergency creative meetings about how to counter-program against WWE's renewed momentum. Independent wrestling promotions began scrambling to book their own surprise returns and family reunion storylines, hoping to capture even a fraction of the excitement that Roman's comeback generated. Wrestling training schools saw increased enrollment as the Roman Reigns story inspired a new generation of potential wrestlers who wanted to be part of an industry capable of creating such emotionally powerful moments. Television networks that had been lukewarm about wrestling programming suddenly renewed their interest, recognizing the potential for wrestling to create viral moments and cultural conversations that drive viewership and advertising revenue. Other celebrities and figures affected by Roman's return demonstrate the far-reaching cultural impact of this wrestling storyline beyond the traditional wrestling audience. Hollywood actors who had previously dismissed wrestling as lowbrow entertainment began publicly praising the storytelling complexity and emotional depth of the Bloodline saga. Musicians started incorporating wrestling references into their songs and social media posts, recognizing the cultural relevance of Roman's comeback story. Athletes from other sports, including NFL players and NBA stars, shared their reactions to the reunion on social media, helping to legitimize wrestling as a form of entertainment worthy of mainstream respect. Even political figures and media personalities found themselves drawn into discussions about the Roman Reigns story, using it as an example of effective narrative construction and audience engagement in their own commentary and analysis. The cultural and social implications of Roman's return extend far beyond entertainment, touching on themes of family, loyalty, redemption, and the power of second chances that resonate with audiences on a deeply personal level. The Bloodline reunion story became a metaphor for real-world family dynamics, with fans sharing their own stories of family conflicts and reconciliations inspired by what they witnessed on WWE television. Social media platforms were flooded with posts about the importance of family forgiveness and the possibility of healing broken relationships, using Roman, Jey, and Jimmy's reunion as inspiration for their own personal situations. Mental health advocates praised the storyline for its realistic portrayal of family trauma and the healing process, noting how the character's emotional journey reflected real psychological principles about forgiveness and rebuilding trust. The story's impact on popular culture was so significant that it began appearing in academic discussions about modern mythology and the role of professional wrestling in contemporary storytelling traditions. Where everyone stands now in the aftermath of this earth-shattering reunion reveals a completely transformed WWE landscape that nobody could have predicted just months ago. Roman Reigns has reclaimed his position as the undisputed head of the table, but his relationship with Jey and Jimmy Uso has evolved into something more collaborative and respectful than the authoritarian dynamic that originally led to their separation. The tribal chief learned from his past mistakes, recognizing that true leadership requires listening to family members rather than simply demanding their obedience. Solo Sikoa finds himself in wrestling purgatory, no longer the tribal chief but not yet forgiven for his betrayal, creating compelling television as he struggles to find his place in the new bloodline hierarchy. Paul Heyman has returned to his role as the wise man, but with added credibility after successfully orchestrating the most complex storyline in recent WWE history while maintaining complete secrecy for months. The latest developments and updates continue to unfold at a breakneck pace, keeping wrestling fans glued to their screens and social media feeds for any new information about the Bloodline's future plans. WWE Creative has been forced to completely rewrite their WrestleMania 2025 plans to accommodate Roman's return and the renewed Bloodline storyline, scrapping months of alternative booking in favor of capitalizing on the incredible momentum generated by the reunion. Seth Rollins, the current Universal Champion, now faces the daunting prospect of defending his title against a united and motivated Roman Reigns, backed by the full power of the reunited Bloodline. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, who thought they had permanently eliminated Roman from the title picture, must now contend with the reality that their actions only made the tribal chief stronger and more determined than ever before. The ongoing legal and professional consequences of this storyline continue to create ripple effects throughout WWE and the broader wrestling industry, demonstrating the real-world impact of fictional narratives when executed with this level of precision and emotional investment. This is the kind of content that changes industries. Show your support by hyping this video so more people see what's really happening. Contract negotiations for Roman, Jey, and Jimmy Uso have reportedly been fast-tracked, with WWE executives eager to lock down the reunited bloodline for long-term deals that will secure their services through multiple WrestleMania events. Merchandise sales have exploded beyond all projections, with bloodline-related products selling out within hours of being restocked, forcing WWE to dramatically increase production to meet unprecedented demand. Television ratings have stabilized and begun climbing again, validating WWE's decision to invest so heavily in the Roman Reigns character and the Bloodline storyline over the past several years. The success has also attracted attention from streaming services and international broadcasters who want to capitalize on the global interest in this compelling family saga. What's coming next in the Roman Reigns and Bloodline saga promises to be even more explosive and unpredictable than anything we've witnessed so far, with multiple storylines converging toward what could be the most epic WrestleMania main event in the show's legendary history. Industry insiders predict that Roman's path back to the Universal Championship will not be straightforward, with WWE creative planning multiple obstacles and challenges that will test the reunited bloodline's unity and resolve. The relationship between Roman and Solo Sikoa remains unresolved, creating potential for either a redemption arc that brings the family fully back together or a final confrontation that settles their differences once and for all. Jey and Jimmy Uso are positioned to reclaim their status as the premier tag team in WWE, but their loyalty to Roman may be tested if they're forced to choose between tag team gold and supporting their cousin's championship aspirations. The unresolved mysteries and questions surrounding this storyline continue to fuel speculation and debate among wrestling fans who are desperate for answers about the long-term direction of these characters. How long can the reunited bloodline maintain their unity before old tensions resurface? Will Paul Heyman's loyalty to Roman remain absolute, or does he have his own agenda that could create future conflicts? What role will Solo Sikoa ultimately play in the family dynamic? It's possible, will he be forgiven and welcomed back, or will he become a permanent antagonist? The psychological complexity of these relationships provides endless storytelling possibilities that could sustain compelling television for years to come, ensuring that the Bloodline saga remains WWE's most important and engaging storyline. Potential future revelations could include the disclosure of additional secret meetings and planning sessions that occurred during Roman's absence, revealing even more layers to the conspiracy that brought about this reunion. Sources hint that there may be video footage of the private conversations between Roman, Jey, and Jimmy that could be released as part of a future documentary or special presentation. The possibility of other WWE superstars being involved in the secret planning adds another dimension of intrigue, suggesting that the reunion may have had more support within the company than initially apparent. International wrestling promotions are reportedly interested in creating their own versions of the Bloodline story, potentially leading to cross-promotional opportunities that could expand the narrative beyond WWE's boundaries. We're about to reveal the most shocking part, but first, if this expose has blown your mind, give it the hype it deserves. The final community engagement and subscription drive reflects the incredible passion and dedication of wrestling fans who have made this story possible through their unwavering support and enthusiasm. Your hype points and engagement have literally helped fund the investigative work that brought you this comprehensive analysis of wrestling's most important story. The comment sections on wrestling videos have become vibrant communities where fans share theories, debate possibilities, and celebrate their shared love for compelling storytelling. Subscribe notifications have become essential for wrestling fans who don't want to miss a single development in this ongoing saga, as new information and updates continue to emerge daily. The future of wrestling storytelling depends on engaged, passionate fans who demand excellence and reward creativity, making your continued support absolutely crucial for ensuring that stories like the Bloodline reunion continue to be told with the depth and complexity they deserve.